Welcome to this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. I'm your host, Ril Gerald Quinn, recording this on a Tuesday, the last day of June, as we are headed towards a scorching, and I mean scorching July. These next 4 days around, especially the Mid East, the Mid Atlantic, Northeast are going to be ridiculous as far as the heat. Please stay safe and cool. But things are also heating up more so also in the NBA with trades and free agency. Let's just begin with the big news of the day, and that is, of course, LeBron James' tenure as a Los Angeles Laker is over. Um, this decision was, this decision was made back in 2025 by the Lakers. I know LeBron wanted to, along with Rich Paul, wanted to paint this narrative as if he left the Lakers and he's moving on. But we gotta be, I mean, we could be totally honest with you, totally honest about the situation. Lakers, two things happened last year that sealed the fate for the dynamic of this relationship that ended this relationship. Number one, the Lakers did not give a LeBron James a contract beyond this season. There was no there was no plus one or anything like that. That's number one. He went into the season for the first time in his career not having multiple years left on his contract, on the expire, on in essence on the expiring contract. The second thing that happened that got reported today by one Ramona Shelburne was the fact that there was this viral meeting that featured Luka Doncic, JJ Redick, and Rob Pelinka. Did not include LeBron. And during that meeting, there was a conversation about what the Laker future would look like, especially in 2026. And again, that conversation did not have include LeBron James. According to Ramon Shelburne, was not LeBron James was not a part of the plans that Luka had for the Lakers in terms of what he wanted, pure and simple. And the only way the Lakers could make the type of moves that they had to make was to, in essence, use the cap space, the 50 plus $1 million uh, that would be left by LeBron James's expiring contract to get other pieces to help build to for the team to be built completely around one Luka Doncic. Now, before we get to the what the Lakers are going to do in free agency and all this, and who they're going to meet and all this good stuff, when we talk about the LeBron James legacy in LA, he plays 8 years there. He wins the championship in year two. Um, it's a legacy that is it's a very complicated, it's a legacy that had a little bit of everything. You're talking about, like I said, reaching the highest of highs in the 2020 bubble, along with Anthony Davis and some of the guys that they had on that team, KCP, uh, and company, and a bunch of veterans. Rajon Rondo. They had some excellent defensive pieces on that team. Uh, they, in essence, dominated the postseason. Really won one going away. They won all. They were like 15, 16, and 3 during that postseason. Only the Miami Heat won multiple games from them in that playoff run. Now, again, you know, it was the bubble, and a lot was going on in the world. You had the pandemic. You had a situation where like I said, you didn't no travel. Everybody's in the Disney bubble, but it was a championship, and you had that. You had couple years where they missed the playoffs. You had some first round exits. You had some couple years where they got swept. You had really out of his 8 years, they were championship contenders for about a year and a half. The first year, his second year, and I would say for half of his third year, third year before injuries, curtailed their run in 2021 with him, with Anthony Davis, as well as him with that ankle injury that he never recovered. And he still, to this day, says he hasn't recovered from his ankle. That ankle or that foot has never been the same. And they would go out in the first round against the in 21 against the Phoenix Suns. After that, they were after that they were not a championship. They didn't sniff championship contention after that. This is the reality of the tenure of LeBron James as far as what it impact what it was made of. And the truth of the matter is, listen, I can't put you can't put that on LeBron James. The Lakers organizationally um, never made moves. The Lakers had a insecure organization where you allowed LeBron to um, dictate terms like Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis. He hit on Anthony Davis and severely missed on Russell Westbrook. The Lakers, as a organization, as a team on the court, were never the same after that Russell Westbrook trade. You trade for Russell Westbrook, they lost their defensive pieces, Caruso, KCP, Kuzma, and they just were never the same. Period, point blank. And never after that threatened to be a championship contender. You had the 1 year where they kind of overachieved in 2023, got to a conference finals. They went through multiple coaches during the LeBron tenure, talking about Luke Walton, Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel, and now JJ Redick. So it was um, a lot of drama, a lot of some internal strife, the stuff that was going on with Jeannie Buss. There's a lot of stuff that consistent championship caliber organizations don't deal with. And the Lakers as an organization have to own that. Period, point blank. Um, this relationship, listen, eh, as a lifelong Laker fan, I absolutely respect the fact that LeBron brought a championship to Los Angeles, brought another championship to Los Angeles. Before LeBron got to the Lakers, they were a shit show. Period, point blank. They were horrible. The last three Kobe years were bad. Um, he made them relevant again. He made them be obviously respectful. They obviously immediately shifted the on the court culture. Like I said, he brought Anthony Davis there, and you have to give him credit for that. But and I think we've learned this over the past um, 5 years, especially this decade where we've had eight different champions. You cannot. I don't care how great your player is. I don't care how great of a player is. Your best player cannot be your best player and also your general manager as well. That just doesn't work. And you cannot give a player everything that's not it's going to have sustained success. And we've seen with it fail with Giannis. We've seen it fail with Kawhi Leonard. We'll talk more about that. Um, it just doesn't work. Now, I can't call it a complete failure with in particular with Giannis and LeBron James because those guys did win championships this decade. Milwaukee, got their first ring in 50 years since 71. And the Lakers, uh, in 2020, they had one in a decade, which for the Lakers is like 50 years. But it is not sustained success when your superstar dictates the moves you make, draft picks, trades, and etc. It's not. You're just not going to. That's why, it's one of the reasons why Oklahoma City and San Antonio are going to be in great shape for the foreseeable future. They, as of right now, their superstar players are not. No, I don't think that will change. I think we'll see what happens with Wembanyama, but definitely with Oklahoma City, that's not going to be the case. Shea just is not that type of player or has that type of personality. But things can change. I didn't see it coming with Giannis like 4 or 5 years ago. But I mean, this relationship was always. It never. Um, when I look at the relationship with LeBron in L.A., there was a line in season 4 of The Wire, season 5 of The Wire. It was when right before Mike was about to shoot Snoop. Snoop was like, "You never was one of us, and you never could be one of us." That's how I feel about LeBron. This relationship was transactional from the beginning. Transactional relationships tend not to last. It was really amazing that it lasted this long. 8 years. I mean, think about it. 8 years is the longest stretch that he's ever played with a franchise. Um, prior to Cleveland, he was there. What 03, 2003 to 2010. So that if you add all the Cleveland years, those two, he has the most years with Cleveland. But this was the most. His Laker tenure was the longest with one team at one time. If you with It was his longest tenure with a team if you don't combine the Cleveland years. But it was a transactional relationship. LeBron joined the Lakers because of obviously it looked on the surface you have the tradition, purple and gold and what have you, but it's Hollywood. It's Los Angeles. This guy wanted to become and has become a mogul, an icon, a billionaire. He's done Hollywood stuff. He has a empire. Period. Point blank. Brian Windhorst reported that he's building $100 million compound in Beverly Hills. So this was always transactional. Like, yeah, like embracing the Lakers tradition, and LeBron James knows how to say the right things. Yeah, I was a I was a Magic fan, and obviously he knew the late and great Kobe Bryant played with him in multiple Olympics and All Star teams, and they had an excellent relationship and seemingly had a good relationship and respect. A mini rivalry, if you want to call it that. Um, but LeBron, the city, it was always going to be Magic and Kobe City, and that was just the way it was going to be. The only way that dynamic that could change if LeBron won multiple championships and led the Lakers to a dynasty. That was the only one championship was not going to change that. Change the Lakers fans' tune about how they felt about Kobe Bryant or forgetting about how they felt about Kobe and Magic, or even Shaq to a lesser extent. Like those guys, those guys, Magic and Kobe are Laker beyond. They're beyond legendary. These guys are Laker gods. They're not even icons. They are Laker gods. Shaq is a Laker icon. Shaq won 3 straight championships. Like Shaq was there for the same amount period that LeBron was, 8 years. The difference, a three-peat. And Shaq wanted to and Shaq was doing some of the similar things with LeBron as far as with Hollywood and things of that nature, things of that nature, movies and what have you. What he did, a couple movies he did before he got to L.A. But Shaq was like a larger than life figure in L.A. But that's how I mean, and that's how it was. Real fans could see right through that shit. Like real fans know. I think it was going to be hard for LeBron to be embraced because he kind of like has been the greatest mercenary in the history of sports. Like when you've been on that many teams, I mean, it's gonna be hard for you to get to for a fan base to get attached. Period. So it was what it was as far as that relationship. Hey, you bring us back to relevance on one hand. On the other, um, you can benefit by being in Hollywood, by expanding your media empire and what have you, and so on. So one championship was not going to create put LeBron in there in that category of all time great Lakers. It just wasn't going to happen. And listen, I understand why. The bottom line is everybody couldn't have everything in this situation. In order for Luca to be Luca, in order for us to see the best out of Luca, and for Luca to be the player that goes to the next level and be a player that can lead this team to a championship, LeBron James could not be a part of that. In order for Luca to be Luca, that's you just like there's no way it could only be it can only be one king in the castle, and that just how it was. And it wasn't even so much style. Like I'm telling you right now, I, and this stuff will come out. But even if LeBron was willing to take a significant pay cut, when you look at Luca, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, those guys are are way too similar in terms of what they do, and too weak defensively for the Lakers to be um, taken serious as a title contender. Period, point blank. And so even if LeBron takes the pay cut, I mean, he could have took the pay cut. Like he could have came back and said that, hey, I'm paid play for $25 million. They go out, get a player and a couple role players, and it's like, what are you doing with that? And we again, this is going to be, you know, this is going to be a multi-year in order for the Lakers to make up the necessary ground to compete with a San Antonio or compete with OKC. It's not going. This is not a 1 year thing. This is an important summer, mind you, but this was not a going to be a 1 year thing. And LeBron James not being on the team speeds up that process. It gives them more flexibility from a cap standpoint. It allows them to go after Walker Kessler or Peyton Watson. Even if they don't land those guys right now, they can trade. You can make a trade into cap space with the amount of cap space that they do have right now. This was inevitable. It was only going to end. There was no other way that this was going. That this wasn't. That this could end. To be honest with you, as far as I mean, you've already heard the rumors about LeBron with Golden State. It makes all the sense in the world. Um, he stays in the state of California. It's not that far from LA, not that far from his family. I mean, if they are able to pull it off, that would mean, Golden State landing Anthony Davis. That's been the word that, part of him, part of him going to San Antonio, excuse me, Golden State would be them landing Anthony Davis. So you have a situation where you saw Draymond Green opt out of his contract, which gave Golden State some salary cap space flexibility to go out there and sign LeBron. Um, stylistically, in terms of LeBron, Curry, Draymond, and Anthony Davis actually match. Like those pieces actually fit. Like LeBron could play the four, and play even at times some center, but he wouldn't even have to play. I mean, they actually have Golden State actually has some quality depth, so he wouldn't even have to play center on them, but he definitely could play some four. And Draymond doesn't need the ball, and Steph could play off the ball. Anthony Davis doesn't need the ball as far as like as a shot creator. So they actually fit, and it would be fun to watch. They're not winning a championship. Um, they have a lot of age, to say the least, but it would be interesting. Now, if you go to the state, I would not give Anthony Davis a max extension. That would be the one thing that makes me believe that this is a possibility that this deal may not happen. Um, but we'll see about that. But Golden State makes sense. Makes probably the most sense to me. But listen, overall, I think this was absolutely the best possible thing to happen to the Lakers as far as this was completely the best outcome. Um, and now, listen, the ball's in the court of Rob Pelinka, the Laker organization as a whole. No more, hey, no more clutch sports as far as with LeBron, and no more some of that. You don't have to deal with some of the stuff as far as any tweets or stuff like that, or passive aggressive that type of deal, that type of stuff. Which again, LeBron did that everywhere, but and you put up with that because of the production, and because of the championships, and because of the ratings that he brought, and because of the relevance that he brought. But now everything is squarely on Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka right now has to go out there. Uh, this is a huge summer for Rob Pelinka to go out there and land at least one quality front um, starting player on your team. This I shouldn't say rebuild, but this Laker transition is not going to happen in one summer. It's going to be a multiple. It's going to be 2026 and 2026. It's going to be over the course of 2 years. This is a 2 year project, at least a 2 year project to put the necessary pieces around Luca to contend for the title. I'm not. Listen, to me, the Dodger people can't get in there quick enough to take over, and I have not seen enough confidence in Rob Pelinka to be able to construct a franchise that can compete for a championship. So I don't have faith in Rob Pelinka personally. Lakers have cap space. They have draft capital as well to make moves. They have the necessary resources to make the moves uh, that they can bring in, that they can flip this roster and bring in some quality talent. But is Rob Pelinka the guy for that? I would say, based off the body of work, probably not. But everything is squared on Rob Pelinka now. Now you can't. Hey, LeBron's not holding anybody hostage. LeBron, he did give them plenty of time. It's June. He gave them plenty of time to make moves as far as what direction they're going to go in. The other big news of the day involved another Los Angeles player, well now former Los Angeles player, and a guy who's kind of been intertwined with LeBron, in some ways because of what transpired in the summer of 2019 when there was talk of him coming to the Lakers, and that's of course Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, it is basically official, a done deal that Kawhi Leonard is going back to Toronto. Toronto, the Clippers will receive Brandon Ingram, Brady Dick, a 31 and 33 unprotected first round picks, a 27 pick first round pick swap, and 2030 and 2033 um, second round picks. He is expected to sign an extension that could be worth up to $123 million. The reason why this deal was able to happen was because Kawhi Leonard basically said that Toronto would be the only place that he would sign an extension. Um, if you're the Clippers, this is completely a complete. The Clippers have finally have embraced a complete rebuild. Um, the Clippers will not be done by any stretch of the imagination. Are not done as far as trades as well. Like you could see, uh, they have some other guys that Brooke Lopez, Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn could be on the move. All those guys could be gone, and they still have Darius Garland. Of course, they drafted Keaton Wagler. Now they have some draft capital. They have some nice. They have at least I think 7 first round picks in the next 6 years and next 7 years, couple of years, they have multiple first round picks. So the Clippers have embraced the rebuild. One of the big winners of this could be the Sixers, who have a unprotected Clipper pick from in 2028. That's unprotected. So that today was obviously that was a big win for the Sixers because the Clippers are not. The Clippers will be bad for the next 2 years. I don't care. They can paint it all they want as far as we're not rebuilding, we're not completely tearing it down. But I don't see the Clippers. That pick should be worth a lot. If you're a Sixer fan in 2020 in 2028. Um, so a couple things. Number one, this absolutely, despite the fact that we know that Kawhi Leonard has had injury issues. He was relatively healthy this season. The last 2 seasons, he's been relatively healthy. In the last 2 seasons, he's played in the majority of the playoff games. The last 2 seasons. Um, but this was a move that I think you absolutely had to make for Toronto. Toronto now in Kawhi Leonard and Scotty Barnes, you have two of the probably top 20 players in the league. They have a starting lineup, projected starting lineup with Emmanuel Quigley, it's R.J. Barrett, who played well this year, had an excellent playoff series against Cleveland. Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, Jacob Pearl. You got a bench with some young talent, nice young pieces. Jamal Shedd, Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray Boyles. They have, I mean, defensively, they can compete with anybody defensively in the league. They had one of the top defenses in the league as is. You add Kawhi Leonard. I mean, in essence, You're switching Kawhi Leonard with Brandon Ingram, and Brandon Ingram's a very good player. Has been an All Star. Um, has been an All Star, but Kawhi Leonard last year was probably one of the top five players in the league last year. Now he's 35 years old. But man, that Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes combo defensively could be terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So this was a absolute no-brainer for the Toronto Raptors. Absolute no-brainer to me. And I think the Raptors immediately become a very, very serious team in the Eastern Conference. I'm not gonna put them as amongst the favorites, but they become a very they like we'll see what Boston happens with Boston. Obviously, the Knicks start off at the top, but Knicks. I mean, Toronto's. You have the Knicks. I think the Pacers will be back. Toronto will be in the mix for sure. Absolutely, Toronto will be in the mix. I'll take Toronto over Cleveland right now. Right now, I would take Toronto over Cleveland. Yeah, right there with Detroit. We'll see. I think Detroit. Well, there's gonna be some moves that Detroit makes right now, but that Toronto team, man, that getting Kawhi Leonard, and again, if he's anywhere close to what he was this season, they could be they could be a very scary team. But I want to look back, at we talked about LeBron's legacy with the Lakers, but I actually feel like the Kawhi Leonard legacy with the Clippers is actually as more intriguing and fascinating than LeBron's with the Lakers. Um, when the Lakers, when Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto went to the Lake Clippers in the summer of 2019, and they landed also Paul George. Everybody and their mother were basically anointing the Clippers as, oh, they're going to be the next team of, they're going to own the decade, the beginning of the decade, and man, they're going to succeed Golden State as the dominant team in the Western Conference. And they had, the Clippers had everything going for them. Coming off a playoff appearance, they had young, nice pieces. They had a organization that was considered smart. They had an owner that was had unlimited pockets. Now, 2020, the bubble, they blow a 3-1 lead against Denver. Who will get rid of Doc Rivers and bring in Ty Lue, who was a championship coach, was coming off a championship 4 years earlier with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and obviously knew how to coach a superstar player as he was during his time as he did because he coached LeBron James to his first to a championship with Cleveland. So now we have a top coach, and Ty Lue, despite all the failures of the Clippers and the underachievement, one of the great underachievements in recent NBA history, Ty Lue is still to me a top coach. Like I watched him when years where Kawhi Leonard was hurt or Paul George was hurt. The team always played hard. And there were times when the team overachieved. Their underachievement to me is not on Ty. Was not on Ty Lue. The underachievement is squarely on Kawhi Leonard. Squarely on Kawhi Leonard. They had two 50-win seasons. Leonard got there in 2019, so he was there for 7 years. In 7 years, two 50-win seasons, one conference finals appearance, and just a litany of injuries. I mean, Leonard basically for 21, 22, 23, and 24 was injured or missed significant time in basically four straight postseason. Like he wasn't even healthy for the conference finals. The one time they made it in, I want to say that was 22. Yeah, that was 20 yeah, in 2022 or 2021 when he lost to Phoenix. So the time that they made the conference finals, he wasn't healthy to play in the conference finals, and Phoenix took care of business. But you talk about underachieving. You talk about one of the bigger disappointments in recent NBA history, considering again all the resources that this team had. I mean, there was a time where Jerry West was the late and great Jerry West was assisting them as far as uh, some front office. They had all the analytics people. They had all these smart people. They had everything. But guess what? In spite of all, and they used to like used to hear this even as a Laker fan. Like, oh man, how smart are the Clippers? And yeah, I wish they I wish could the Lakers run their operate? Could the Lakers run their organization like the Clippers are running it? But guess what? Guess which franchise has a championship this decade? Guess what? Like for all the stuff, for all the shit talking that the Clippers did as a franchise and their fans and some of the shit that they said about Laker fans, the Lakers had won a championship and were in two conference finals compared to the Clippers one conference final during that time period. So I mean, Kawhi's legacy as a Clipper is I mean it is it's a hard it's I mean people are going to say, well, what could have been if you were healthy, but it has to be considered a major disappointment to say the least, especially considering I mean you know the money that he made um, during that time. And when Kawhi's healthy, listen, I'm a Kawhi fan when he's on the court. When he's on the court, healthy, is what he does. His production is undeniable. It's undeniable that this guy postseason big shots. He's still a two-time champion. He still has two Finals MVPs. Obviously, top 75. No brainer Hall of Famer. But we gotta call shit where we gotta call this what we have to call this what it is. It was a failure, a complete failure. They didn't get to the NBA Finals. And getting back to what I mentioned about allowing a player to dictate your moves, they did not have to give up everything they got, everything they could get. They gave up to get Paul George. They did not have like man. Even at the time, you said, "All right, it is Paul George." Paul George at that time was a legit top 10 to top 15 player. Paul George was coming off a season in Oklahoma City where he finished, I think, top three in the MVP race that one year. I think I think not 19. Yes, 19 in 2019. But man, like they did not like you look at the team, look at all them what could have been if they would have kept all those picks. They keep SGA, and you know I get why they did it. At the time, nobody was saying don't do this deal. Everybody with any basketball person was saying, hey, you have to do it. But it was too much. It was way too much. I mean, then like Oklahoma City is still eating off that draft. Oklahoma City will be like I think next year will be the last year that Oklahoma City was benefiting for that draft for almost a decade from 2019 to 2027. Oklahoma City is going to be eating off that draft, all those picks they got in the Paul George trade, and that was because of Kawhi Leonard. And but again, it makes perfect time. Like the Clippers doing this, this is the way to go if you're the Clippers. This absolutely is the way to go. You are bringing Kawhi Leonard back for next season. It would have been just a waste because you're risking him being hurt. You're risking him like you not, and then you basically have to trade him for basically peanuts on the like 50 cent on a dollar if you were going to try to move him, and he got hurt or he started aging quickly. Now you just like Charlotte did with LaMelo, you absolutely sell high right now. Now was the perfect time. Kawhi Leonard, you know, was second team All NBA this year. Finished top five in a top finished top seven in MVP voting. Now was the time to make the move. Um, to make that move to the Clippers. It's just there was no other way. They had to, they got again. You got a number of draft picks. They kind of make up somewhat for the Paul George trade. Not nowhere near enough, but still, um, they have some pieces in the future that they can build off if they nail those drafts. Um, Leonard was looking here now. He was second team All NBA this year. Finished seventh in the MVP race on a team that was like didn't make the playoffs. Remember, they lost in the play-in. So he was like I said, he legitimately was one of the top after Christmas, after December. He was legitimately one of the top 3 to 4 players in the league, both ways, offensively and defensively. He was dominant during the season. Going to do a mini deep dive. The Charlotte Hornets, and I didn't get I didn't get on to discuss this trade or the moves that they made, but if you are a Charlotte Hornet fan, you have to be excited about the direction of your team. We talked about selling high. The Charlotte Hornets right now, they move off LaMelo Ball, they move off Miles Bridges. In return, you get Nazir Reed, you get not Nas, you get Nas Reed, and a bunch of draft picks. The Charlotte, and then they make the trade with Phoenix, where they actually just fleeced the Phoenix Suns. I mean, you talk about a one-sided trade. Um, Boyce O'Neal, Grayson Allen. They moved Miles Bridges, who they were going to move, wanted to move anyway. He was on an expiring contract. You move Miles Bridges to Phoenix for Grayson Allen, Royce. You move Miles Bridges and the 29th first pick, the 29th pick, first round pick in 2029 for Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, and a number one unprotected number one in 2033. Um, Again, Phoenix just I don't know what the hell Phoenix is doing. I don't know what their situation. They just have a batshit owner who has no clue what the fuck he's doing. But Charlotte now will have when you talk about draft capital moving forward, they have 11 future first round picks, including three pick swaps for the Minnesota deal. So they have as much draft capital this side of Oklahoma City and San Antonio. Definitely the most draft capital in the Eastern Conference. They're not done with the moves that they made. I don't think they're done. They're clearly went in the direction of building around Knipple and Brandon Miller. Expect Brandon Miller, who is extension eligible, to be extended before the summer's out. Um, Nas Reed is a perfect culture and chemistry guy for them. He's a very good player. I mean, he can, a stretch four who can get his own offense, who can play multiple positions on your front line. Um, and they, have a great fan base. They were one of they had two draft picks who people like that were drafted, Christian Anderson, who certainly will come off their bench. You just have to love everything Charlotte is doing right now. Like they are just like I said, this how they played this was perfect. You get off the Lamelo contract, and listen, Miles Bridges has some off the court stuff with domestic violence. We a couple of years ago, he kind of kept his nose clean since then, but and Lamelo Ball was Lamelo Ball. Those guys were not going to like those guys were not going to be long time fixtures for that franchise. That's just the way it was. And I think the best thing that happened to Charlotte was the Orlando ass whooping in the play in. That was the best thing to play in winner take all play in. If they go out there and beat Orlando and then let's say play Detroit to and lose to Detroit, say in a tough 6 or 7 game series, I think it might have given the franchise a false sense of how good the team actually was. Losing to Orlando, getting embarrassed in Orlando in a play-in, you could say was like, okay, we had a good season, we took a step in the right direction, had some excitement, but we're still not even close. We didn't make the playoffs in the East. We're not even close to any of these other teams at the top of the East, or even at the top of the East. So this was not so much it was fool's gold, but it was like we were close, but yet so far. So I actually think that Orlando beatdown was beneficial and definitely contributed to making this decision, help make this decision easier as far as the direction of their franchise. I love what they're doing. I think that they are a place where I think they're a desirable place again. They clearly have people in their organization that know what they're doing. That are now again, you still have to go out there and get a top 7 to 10 guy ultimately to compete for a championship. Now, like maybe that's Jalen Brown. We'll see. The saga continues in terms of that situation, but they are clearly headed, or a ascending team that's exciting, that and again has a no, they has a number of flexibility in draft capital. They still have Grant Williams as an expiring contract that they can move off as well. So I mean, he could be moved before the summer is over. And most importantly, they have a number of the draft capital enough draft capital that will allow them to make some moves. Also, in terms of real thoughts, of course, yesterday Ja Morant was basically moved for next to nothing. Uh, because Ja Morant goes to Portland for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. No picks, not even second round picks. We're talking about a guy in Ja Morant, who um, was in the conversation as one of a possible candidate of face of the league. Had his own shoe, of course. Remember, fine in the West. In 2022, the Memphis Grizzlies were the the team that a lot of people thought could be the future of the Western Conference. And now Ja Morant becomes the final piece of that three-headed monster with along with Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson. Now they have completely, basically started over. Um, they drafted Cam Boozer. They have some nice young pieces on that team. But as far as Ja Morant goes, I mean, Ja Morant goes to Portland in the most critical year of his professional career. Now he has 2 years left on his contract at about $87 million. So he's going to get his money. But Ja Morant absolutely is playing for his NBA livelihood, whether he realizes it or not, this season, this upcoming season. I don't know what Portland's going to do. They have a over. They're gonna move one of those guards, if not multiple guards. I mean, right now, I mean, you have Ja Morant, you have Damian Lillard, you have Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, yeah, you have Denny, of course, um, Shaden Sharp. So a couple of those guys are gonna get moved before the season, before the summer's out. But most importantly, if this does not humble Ja Morant, I don't know what will. Like you got moved basically for nothing, no picks, for nothing, and I think too much. Uh, we can talk about the on and off the court stuff with the guys till the cows come home. Uh, that stuff would. I mean, part of his part of his fall was of course because of that, but his game has fallen off. Like not getting to the rim, not improving on your jump shot, being horrible as a 3-point shooter, and on top of that, defensively, he's never been a great defender. But I mean, with the injuries, um, he's even got worse defensively, and also not being able to stay on the court. So he is in a position where it can go left, it can go further left, and he could absolutely, and I mean, don't be surprised by this. He could absolutely be out the league in a couple of years. That is on the table. It's absolutely on the table. So I can't tell you how critical this upcoming season is for John Morant. The NBA, I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons why there wasn't a heavy trade market for John Morant outside of the off the court stuff and what that transpired in Memphis, even with his decline in terms of his game and physically and having obviously trouble staying healthy. The NBA is loaded with talent, and especially talented at the guard position. Like you don't the guard position, point guard position, whatever is absolutely loaded. I mean, you just saw in this draft how many guards these got drafted, point guards or combo guards. So, like, dude, you're not. I hope Jai got. I mean, if Jai doesn't get the message, it didn't get the message. If this does not humble him, or if this does not motivate him to um, stay healthy, or I don't know what will. What don't want to hear from Ja Morant is the him playing victim or him this me against the world bullshit. Because that would tell me you haven't matured at all. That's what that would tell me. Go to Portland. You'll have certainly an opportunity to play. Um, I don't anticipate Drew Holiday will be on the team. Dame Lillard certainly will be there. Dame Lillard is obviously been a great player. Been a great player in this league for a long time, and will be a Hall of Famer, top 75. But he's also one of the more respected players in the league. So that is a guy that can provide, if Jai allows it, that is a guy that can definitely provide some leadership for him. It's kind of sort of a mentorship. But because this is it. This is it. Not that this is it will be could be his last team if he doesn't play well, but his last opportunity to earn any significant money moving forward. As far as a team and the supermax days, those days are done. But even like as you go, even to a point to where you can play another. He's only 26 years old. Well, you can play another 8 to 10 years, another 8 to 10 years in this league. Even to that, and making be obviously beyond quality, great money, but not those max and super max days are done. Like in essence, he's going to be this year. He's playing for his NBA livelihood. To be perfectly honest with you, there was no market for him. None. There was minimal, the bare minimum market for him. Almost no market for him at all. I mean, he really almost became almost. It really became almost an afterthought. To be perfectly honest with you, and me, Minnesota. If I'm a contending team, I wouldn't want no part of the Ja Morant business. None. If I were trying to contend, if I'm Minnesota, I'd rather have LaMelo Ball than Ja Morant. It's not even close, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens with that situation again. Portland's not done. Memphis probably doing cartwheels right now as far as they getting ready, just getting off that contract and basically starting off with a clean slate. They have a boatload of draft picks as well. They have been, for the most part, they do draft well and develop players, develop talent. Bain has some very good years. Jaren Jackson, has some good years with them as well. So that is a above average organization from that standpoint. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. Enjoy your week, the rest of your enjoy your evening, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you soon.